It's still summer. Also, if you think about late summer, the weather is pretty nice. That's where we are, in the middle of summer somewhere. The temperature is nice, making money is simple, and this is how fast things speed up around us election years. It always went like this. This is what I call the banana zone. Bitcoin bubble stands out because it is clear and easy to understand. There's no limit to who can join, no matter how much they know about crypto or how new they are to it. Guess who is watching us now? Robert Kiyosaki is the author of the best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad. We'd also like to thank everyone who put their trust in us. We read all of your comments, and the best part is that it's free. If you sign up now, you'll get all the new information for free. Stay ahead of the trends instead of just following them. Sign up for Bitcoin Bubble right now and enjoy the new edge. Also, what makes you think that the rise of AI will lead to an economic singularity, where everything goes crazy, and in the world of crypto, the numbers look like bananas standing on end because they only go up? Because between the election and the next year, they all have to pay off what? $10 trillion in debt. In the past, it has been hard for both the Fed and the Treasury to refinance. Because of this, short-end bills have been made, which means you should wait for rates to go down, but you can refinance your rates once rates do go down. It's like you don't want to change your mortgage when the rates are high, you want to do it when the rates are low. Just like the Fed did, you should put your money in a money market fund. Then they'll do that. So that time of very high liquidity tends to base the currency. China is ringing the bell for more stimulus. The US has begun the cycle of rate cuts. That is going to drop a lot. The UK and the EU both began, and so did everyone else. So now the big game starts. I've talked a lot about the everything code and how liquidity is now the key that turns the whole economy on and off. The business cycle is now being driven by that. After 2008, liquidity was the most important thing in the world. When the global debt fix happened, it wasn't how most people thought it would. For a few years, they didn't charge any interest on the debt. So everyone renegotiated their loans, didn't have to pay interest, and renegotiated their debts for 3 to 5 years. That includes all of the world's biggest governments, from China to Japan to the US, the UK to the EU, and Canada. This is how the world has been going since then. Refinancing bills adds to the account every time. Now, using liquidity to pay off all the debt with interest payments on devalued fiat currency is what makes assets go up, since debasement makes fiat currency look like it has less value. Because of this, markets go up. It's kind of a mind trick that people don't see or understand. I've also looked at how cyclical this is and how it happens over and over again. We can predict what will happen in the future by using some forward-looking signs that are part of the everything code. Also, everyone should watch that video on my YouTube account. What does Ralph think about the movie and the code for everything? It's the most important thing I've ever made, but it takes 2.5 hours to watch. Because of this, Bitcoin hit $65,000 after the stock market opened on September 26th. Events in the United States pushed up risky assets. As US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen raised chances that the Federal Reserve would achieve a soft landing on inflation, the market continued to rise. When Yellen talked to CNBC, she painted a positive picture of the US economy, which is not what Fed Chair Jerome Powell said in his prepared comments for the 2024 US Treasury Market Conference at the New York Fed. Like I said, when I spoke at this event in 2015, our country's entire financial system is based on being able to quickly and easily turn Treasury securities into cash, he said. I said back then that these markets need to keep working well, and it's up to all of us to make sure they do. I am still fully committed to that goal. Also, the US Q2 GDP of 3% was about what was expected, and the number of jobless claims was a little lower than what was expected. The SP 500 hit a new all-time high during the day, continuing a rise that picked up speed after Powell announced on September 18th the first interest rate cuts in 40 years. In a letter to Trading Resource, the Kobayashi letter said that China was to blame for the recent gains because the country announced a number of fiscal stimulus measures this week. This is just the start. In part of a special thread on Hex, it said that China was in a panic. For some reason, it seems to break down pretty much by year, which isn't ideal. So 2022 was a big winter. There was both inflation and a decline in every market. Even though it wasn't officially called a recession, everything went bad. What's been going on since spring last year? You feel better after a while. What took place? Things in long-term trends like tech stocks and crypto did really well. The business cycle stayed low though, things that look to the future and are driven by liquidity, which usually comes before the business cycle by a long time, had already started to get better.